everybody. Welcome to the Awesemo.com live before lock show. We've got ourselves a 5-gamer today. A lot of stuff to talk about. There's really not going to be a lot, but we're going to do our best to give you the best 50 minutes of talk that we can give you before the slate locks. And it is an early lock today, 6:40 Eastern time, so get your stuff ready. I'm Chris Spags, joined by my good pal, the baseball savant himself, Jake Hari. How's it going, Jake?
It's going well. Got another slate in front of us. Early did not go well, as I was just telling you before we got on, but I like the Wednesday and Thursdays because then you can get right back at it. Or if you win on the early slate, then you can outkick your coverage a little bit and play a little bit more than you should. So there's always positives on these dual slate days. Saturdays, same thing. Sundays as well. But yeah, I'm excited. Ownership rolling in and rankings getting updated, projections getting updated on the site. So it'll be a good, quick show, I think, since we've got this early.
No, it's not. No, it's not going to be a quick show. We are going up to lock and we're going to basket every minute of it, Jake. We're going to, even if we have to make several lineups throughout the course of the show,
we're
feel
filling
this entire 50 minutes.
It'll feel quick.
It will feel quick. That's what I always tell people too, Jake. Let's talk about the stuff we want to hit on. I think we need to talk about pitcher first. Luis Castillo. I think let's just talk about him up front because he's the guy I feel like you need to make your decision about up front. He's the only, you know what? I'll say it. He's the only good pitcher on today's slate. Like in terms of what I would define as good. He gets swinging strikes. He's a good guy in terms of limiting contact, in terms of limiting home runs. He is in Citizens Bank Park, which is going to be a problematic factor in terms of park factors. But besides that, I think it's just a good spot for him. The Vegas total, maybe not the best, 3.9 implied runs against him. But Castillo, to me, elite stuff, 15.7% swing strike rate on the year, 32.5% chase rate, 11.2 Ks per nine. Nobody else in his tier, I think, in terms of potential. What are you doing with Luis Castillo today?
Yeah, I mean, he's just a hard guy for me to avoid on this slate. And, I plugged in Alex's projections on the site, and sure enough, I'm getting 73% Castillo, as you guys can see on the screen. So I guess I'm just eating all the pitcher chalk. I mean, yeah, me and Laffy were fawning all over Castillo's numbers on the strategy show this morning. If you guys saw the tweet that we sent out, so nothing's really changed since then. In fact, I think I might even like him a little bit more. Looks like Chicago's total, I think, has gone down since this morning. So maybe some people backing the Reds are just expecting a lower scoring game in general. And then the thing with Castillo, and it's always the thing with these expensive pitchers, is that I never have a problem playing them. It's just a matter of opportunity cost. And today, like, you can play the Braves, you can play some of these Cardinals bats, you can play White Sox and get leverage off of Stroman, like one of the other chalky pitchers, and still be able to play Castillo with relative ease. So for me, pretty easy decision, going well overweight on him. I don't really care what he's owned at right now. I think he is by far the best play. What about you?
Yeah, I'm on the same page. I'm over the field on the 41% we have projected on DraftKings. He comes up a lot in optimizers. I got off him. I think I'm closer to 60%, which I'm fine with. I'm going to have some Trevor Williams and some, I don't know. I think Stroman. I think I have a lot in my lineups without Castillo. Those two guys as a pairing to get you some more higher price bats. But yeah, Luis Castillo to me just looks good enough. I think there's certainly some merit in going against him here. He is in a positive park that favors hitters. So that could be something that hurts him here versus the Cubs. And, the Cubs are a team who hits well versus right-hand pitching on the year, though the particular lineup they have out here, maybe not the best, but on the year, they do get on base. They do make some good contact. They do have a 114 WRC plus versus righties, and that's going to be a little bit better at Citizens Bank Park. But if they can't hit the ball and Castillo can't keep it away from them, it's not going to matter. So I'm more on Castillo's side. What would you go with for leverage with the Cubs, or are you going with any, Jake?
Yeah, I am. So I was just thinking about this. I just ran this crunch and kind of filtered out some lineups, and 8 have issues. So it'll look something similar to this, my final crunch. But I did get to 6 out of 150 5-man Cub stacks as sort of a hedge, which I actually really like, because I think if Castillo does get blown up here, it probably has a lot to do with him just missing his location or his fastball not working and his changeup not working the way they have been as of late. So you've got some dangerous hitters on this Cubs lineup. I would be looking to full stack it probably just for ultimate leverage, or maybe at least 3-man stack it, because I don't really want to cherry pick guys to take against Castillo. I think he's either going to have it, which he has a ton lately, or he's just going to kind of get knocked around here. And I don't see much in between. So I want to take advantage either way. Like I have 75% of him. I'm going to end up around there, but I'm definitely not just writing off Cubs bats as a full stack. It's just too good of an ownership spot, I think, to completely avoid the Cubs as well.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. And I think the fact, too, they went with Schwarber up top. I mean, he certainly strikes out enough, 26.4% K rate versus a righty, but he's got that power at 3,100. And then, Castillo, if he has one weakness to this versus lefties, he has a 1.47 whip compared to a 0.9 whip versus righties. And he also gives up 9.5 hits per nine compared to 5.9 hits per nine versus righties. So that was a dyslexic number pairing, but that is exactly what it is. And the home run rate, too, versus lefties, 4.1%. So that at Citizens Bank Park is a situation where excuse me, not Citizens Bank, whatever park it is.
Great American. I actually know that one.
Yeah, that's right. Citizens Bank is Philly. My bad. But still the same park factors. It's the number 2 hitting park in the league. So that's sort of, to me, that's what I'm thinking with the Cubs. I didn't get there, but I kind of wish I had, because Schwarber at the 1 hole, Descalso too, not a bad play at the 3 spot. Both those guys, decent home run hitters, especially Schwarber, 5.5% rate going against righties. So there is some potential there. I think I'd be more inclined for mini stacks, though. Like a full stack, I find it hard to imagine he blows up that badly.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's a short slate. So even if he does blow up, not blow up, but like let's say he gets through 5 and he gives up 2 or 3 runs, like you still get half the game almost against the Cincy bullpen. And then Castillo, even if he has a bunch of strikeouts, he's no longer the nut play if the Cubs do indeed somewhat get to him as well as the bullpen. So that's why I'm more in favor of kind of avoiding or stacking against him, if that makes sense. But I don't like, it's a 5-game slate. There's a lot of concentrated ownership. There's a bunch of options on this slate in terms of just getting leverage. So it doesn't have to be against Castillo if you're dealing with a limited amount of lineups.
Yep. Yeah, I agree with you there. And the top 4 will have some ownership for the Cubs. Pretty much all the guys above 11% on DK. And then underneath those guys from the 5 hole down, those guys will all be under 6%. So if you wanted to go really contrarian, I don't know if there was a lot of merit there in going to like Wilson Contreras and Victor Caratini. 2 catchers, that's fun. But they're there and they're not going to be owned. So that's a thought. How about the other side, Jake? You have Jose Quintana. It's a decent run total going against him with 4.6 implied runs. The Reds are also not bad. I mean, Nick Senzel's a guy who's kind of been very good in a limited sample size. Joey Votto, not the best versus lefties, but still playable. Suarez, your boy, not a bad hitter at all versus lefties, 170 WRC plus. Getting any Red stacks going against Quintana, or are you going in favor of Jose Quintana?
So I would like the Reds stack. They do grade out well in terms of a raw point, point per dollar basis, but they actually grade out as the most over-owned stack using the Osmo.com top stack tool, which comes directly from Alex from Osmo. And we've actually been referencing this tool quite a bit over the last few days. It's quickly become my favorite thing to look at, just a quick visual of the overall slate in terms of who I want to stack, who I might want to avoid or go underweight on. And it just got updated a few minutes ago. So Cincinnati is now the second most over-owned stack. Them and Atlanta are right up there, and then there's a pretty big drop-off to actually the Cubs are third. So I am limiting my exposure to full stacks to Cincinnati. I will end up on a bunch of these hitters in like the mid-teens and maybe 20%. As you guys saw, I had Puig at 21%. So it's hard to avoid them on a point per dollar basis, but I think as far as stacking them, I'm going to end up underweight, especially on the 5-man stack.
Yeah, I agree. I have a little bit of it, and I'm okay with that. Quintana, to me, just the guy who's been good enough this year, is 3.4 xFIP, actually an improvement going back to last year. He's been getting the results. We've talked about it before. The results were kind of baffling earlier in this year. He's leveled out to just a mostly solid pitcher. He gives up some hard contact, but not a ton. So, yeah, Quintana, I didn't get to him. I think I may have him in one lineup out of 20. But I think that's sort of fine by me. I don't really need a lot of him. Going against him, not a play I'm dying to get to, and it's a fine one, though, because, again, it's a 5-game slate. It's possible, and it is a good hitting park. It is the best hitting park on the slate, though Atlanta's not terribly far behind.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so let's go through here. Oh, sorry, just looking at the top. Also, looking at the top stack things. That is something you can get with a premium membership at Osmo.com. Use that promo code LIVEBEFORELOCK at half off the first month. The top stack tool is something we've talked a lot about in the shows recently, but it really does break things down in a meaningful way. Toronto, St. Louis, Minnesota, those teams where guys are popping up, maybe not popping up a ton of ownership, but they are popping up with the top stack percentage numbers, and those guys are most likely to hit their target scores today. So check it out. Use the promo code live before lock. Also get access to the premium Slack, which Jake, I'm gonna take a mea culpa today. Yesterday I called out a guy who I had noticed being a bit of a jerk to me, and that was wrong of me to do because he actually has been good to other people in there, even though he's maybe a little bit of an abrasive guy. There's a lot of people in the premium Slack who are helping people out, and I think even when we don't see it, it's going on all day. So that's sort of the support that you have there going on. So go check out the premium Slack. A lot of great guys in there who are doing good stuff, and just people exchanging ideas. That's sort of what you need when you're playing DFS and trying to get better at it.
Yeah, exactly. Slack's great. I mean, for a variety of reasons. It's not always baseball talk, but we do talk a lot of DFS and a lot of strategy. So I think it's pretty valuable along with all the other tools, and it's also great for helping interpret kind of what stuff means on the site. So I see new people every day drop in and say, I'm new, like how do I take advantage of the tools? And it's not only us in there. We can't really see everything that goes on as we've got other stuff to do, but like the subscribers are also super helpful in helping other subscribers get the best out of their membership, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a good community we have built in there, so go check it out. Part of our premium membership, of course. And also, one other thing we're doing, we are giving away a premium membership right now, a free month of all access membership to Osmo.com. Go check our pinned tweet on the @Osmo_com Twitter. Our guy Brett and our guy Ryan, also our two social media guys, working hard with these giveaways. A lot of giveaways, so make sure you're following all the handles because these are going on every day. It's a lot of ways for you to get that value for free. $70 value for a month. The question is a Game of Thrones one about who's going to sit on the Iron Throne at the end. So if you don't want spoilers, maybe avoid it. But they have some picks in there. My personal pick is not in there, and Vegas' pick, so it's a bit of an interesting choice. But
are you a Thrones guy?
Oh yeah, love Game of Thrones.
Okay, I don't know if we've talked about this at all, but I haven't seen it yet. I'm not boycotting. It doesn't surprise me. Yeah, I'm not boycotting it. I don't watch a lot of shows, but when I do, I really commit to it. So like I've seen all like the big shows. I mean, a few like Breaking Bad and Dexter, and some of those ones like that. So I don't really watch a lot of fantasy shows like that, like the genre fantasy, not fantasy sports. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna watch it at some point. I just haven't gotten around to it, and then by the time I wanted to start it, I was too far behind where everything would have been spoiled. So it's better I just don't know the characters now, and then watch it once it's all finished, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. Like, so the thing is, I think you need to be caught up, or at least like kind of watch the thing so you know what to be. Like a series finale of like a pop culture show, that's sort of a cool moment to be a part of. And
Sure.
I'm not a person who's super big on like the award show things or like Bachelor live tweeting. People who like that. No offense to our coworker Chris Randone, who's done great work on the reality genre. But like I'm not super into those. But I feel like when you have a series finale that's this big, like when Breaking Bad had its finale, like it's a cool moment to be a part of, and I think it's fun to talk about. Good water cooler talk, Jake, for when we're at the water cooler.
Sure. And I'm a Bachelor guy too, so I don't live tweet it, but I live chat it in the premium_Bachelor channel in Slack.
Yeah, there's important stuff going on here. We got to support the brand now that we have now that we're expanding into the reality TV genre, and our guy Chris Randone, check his work out too. He's been doing some good stuff with his articles that he's done for us and the videos he's done with Osmo as well. We've talked about on here, but we're expanding, we're getting bigger.
Sure.
Tom, I'm intrigued about your Game of Thrones pick, Chris. My pick is Bran Stark. That he has been the Vegas favorite the entire year, so that's the one. The boss man, both Tom, are one of our senior management guys, one of our founders, and Alex always convey the importance of Vegas. So I've been thinking Bran the entire year, and now looks like it's coming together. There, he's going to be the dude. Which, anyway, no spoiler talk about that. Let's go back to baseball. All right, we got this Atlanta Braves team here, Jake. So they're going to have the highest total on the slate with 5.2 runs against them. Adam Wainwright has shown nothing this year. He's been worse going back to last year, but even worse this year, rather. Just swinging strike rate coming down even further from 8% to 6.9%, which is not very nice for him. And a home run rate up to 3.8%. It's a really good spot here. Atlanta getting a little warmer. Atlanta obviously has a ton of pop as well. The addition of Austin Riley, another guy who's had some nice pop. He already has a home run. He's been in the lineup for a couple days. What are you doing with the Braves? I'm getting a good amount of them, but maybe not as much as I wanted.
So they're actually another team that is, according to the Top Stack tool, which I'm becoming a religious follower of, they are one of the most over-owned stacks, actually the most over-owned, just by raw percentage. And what I mean by that is their ownership share is, it's over 4% higher than their top, the chances they are to be the top stack. So that would make them over-owned or overvalued according to what their ownership is. So I'm limiting my exposure to them as well. So it's going to be Atlanta and Cincinnati that I limit my 5-man stacks with, especially. And it's just because they're going over-owned. I mean, I like the spot. I enjoy picking on Wainwright. I don't think he's very good. I think he's had a pretty fluky start to the season, and maybe he keeps it up for one more start. But I'm still going to be playing a lot of Freeman. I'm going to be playing a lot of those top four guys, and maybe even Markakis in there, because it's hard to avoid the value just in terms of a full stack. I'm not going to end up there all too often. At least that's what I anticipate doing.
Yeah, so I'm there a good amount. Acuna is a guy who comes up a lot with our projections today as a one-off and in stacks, and I like him quite a bit. Freeman too, the matchup versus Wainwright. Wainwright actually not terrible versus righties, which kind of surprises me. A 1.02 whip, 7.2 hits per nine allowed, compared to his what numbers versus lefties: 1.7 whip, 10.5 hits per nine allowed. Also, the home run rate jumps up 3.9% versus lefties compared to 2.7%. So I think it's a good spot here. Obviously, you can't argue with the spot for the righties, but Freddie Freeman's a guy I definitely have a lot of exposure with. He's going to be 20% owned, so he'll be one of the higher owned first basemen out there. But I really have a hard time arguing with it.
Yeah, I mean, he is a great, like, he would be a great dong pick, I think, which we should probably do pretty shortly here. But yeah, I like all the Atlanta bats. I just don't really necessarily agree with their ownerships and their total ownership they're going to get in terms of the overall slate.
Yeah, that seems fair. All right, yeah, that's right. We are at sort of the halfway point, I guess.
Fun, like weird time.
The timing's all screwed up. Again, 6:40 lock today, so be on the ball. Get your lineups done early. Don't screw around. All right, Jake, you got a home run yesterday. Josh mocked your pick of Willie Calhoun.
You guys both did.
No, I was like, I mean, look, he was under league average, but he was fine. I think too, I don't think you did this deliberately, but a guy coming into the lineup, I feel like that's usually a bit of a boost if he's not hurt or anything. So I had no problem with it. And we're now tied, Jake. So that I do have a problem with. We both have 4 home runs on the year. Josh and Emac both have 7. So what are you going to go for your pick today here? Is it going to be as crazy as Willie Calhoun seemed, I guess?
All right, let me get to my stack here before I run another crunch, or let me get to my old crunch here. Let's see. I usually just pick someone I'm heavily exposed to. I think that's kind of the best way to go about it. Here's one. I'll be a homer, quote unquote. I will take Eddie Rosario.
You son of a bitch.
You were gonna take him?
Yeah. So I was gonna be on Nelson Cruz, and he's not in the lineup. He's been the dude. I had him in the Four Corners video today. I loved him. Then he's just not in there. They're hurting me.
Well, you can take another twin here. Take Polanco. He was gonna be the other guy I was gonna pick. I think the Twins are gonna tee off.
I actually might go CJ Cron here. Not as good of a batting average, but 5.5% home run rate, which is right there with Rosario versus righties. So, all right, let's do this, Jake. It didn't work out for us with the Royal shortstops, but today with the Twins, I think we're in a good spot. Hopefully,
I think so. I think we'll be okay.
Let's talk about the Twins because I like them as a stack. They also, as I mentioned, they do come up the top stack percentages, which I'm happy with because they're not. I mean, the ownership's come up a little bit, but still not terribly highly owned. And CJ Cron apparently going to be one of the lower owned parts of that stack. How much Minnesota are you getting? I like the spot here going against Eric Swanson. Maybe not a terrible pitcher and perhaps a bit unlucky so far. And actually, you know what? He's actually gotten kind of lucky with his BABIP, so maybe not. But he could be due for some positive regression because he's not giving up a ton of hard contact. But I still don't see a reason to go against him. The Twins have lit up pretty much everybody. I mean, they're a fantastic hitting team across the board. This lineup may be a little bit weaker without Nelson Cruz, but still a strong one. How much Twins are you getting today?
Yeah, a ton of Twins. And I was already before, but looking, again, top stack tool, which I'll probably refer to every show from here on out for the rest of the season. They are one of the most undervalued stacks, if not the most undervalued stack on the entire slate. So, I mean, this team's just been red hot all season. They're hitting everyone. This guy, Swanson, has been struggling since he's come up. High implied total for a park that usually plays much better to pitching. I don't know that there's a ton to be worried about in Seattle's bullpen either. And yeah, just a bunch of hitters that are hitting the cover off the ball. So I don't see what there is not to like. I know that their prices are a little bit restrictive if you're trying to go to Castillo, so you may not be able to get a ton of Cron, Rosario, Polanco stacks. You just might need to get a little bit creative and take one of these guys in the 6, 7, and 8 holes because I just don't see anything that's holding me back from playing Twins here, and especially not their ownership.
Yeah, Marwin's a guy I got a decent amount of. Jason Castro as well. Obviously, a catcher, a part of a 5-man stack, always not always, but mostly not a bad idea because you're getting that at least more opportunities for him. And Castro's actually been pretty good, at least this year. He's got a 9.7% home run rate and a 166 WRC plus, and he's getting the opportunity with Garver sideline for a little bit. So I don't mind Castro. Yeah, I'm with you. I think this is a good stack to go to. I think there's going to be some ownership on the top 4 guys, but as Jake mentioned, not a lot besides that. So if you go to a Crone, you go to a Marwin, you go to Miguel Sano, who coming back in the lineup. I think this is his first game of the year, right?
First game, yeah. We were just, was it me and you, or who was it? Me and Adam? I can't remember who it was. Maybe it was me and Josh. I have no clue. All the shows run together. And I love talking to all you guys, so it doesn't matter, But we were just talking about Sano, like we just hadn't heard of him at all or what he was doing. And oddly enough, he's in the lineup today, just out of the blue. Had you heard that he was even close to returning?
No, I don't recall seeing that at all, but maybe that's one they wanted to keep under the radar because it's had some issues and they just want to quietly sneak him in.
Yeah, I guess so.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like his domestic violence issues were like a while ago. Where was
that was over a year ago. I don't know whatever came up of that. So, not enough to get him suspended, at least. Not enough evidence. I don't know. So, weird situation. Last year he got hurt when he did play, and then I just kind of forgot about him. If he can start to hit like he did a couple years ago, man, this Twins lineup is all of a sudden even more scary. Just another huge power bat in there.
Garrett saying in the YouTube chat, deeper dive isn't uploaded. It actually is uploaded. I think they went on the wrong video feed somehow. They're on the one that is EMAC. I'll get to you in a second, EMAC. They went on the one that says MLB Strategy Show. So that's why. You'll see it on the thumbnail, Garrett. So check it on the YouTube channel page. And also, EMAC's home run pick is Edwin Encarnacion. So he is with us on Seattle. We are all Team Seattle. Or excuse me, all Team Minnesota, but going against Seattle. Well, that game, rather.
Yeah.
Whatever.
No, you're right.
You know what I mean.
Yep.
I'm typing and reading EMAC stuff at the same time. It throws me for a loop.
Who do you pick? E5? Edwin. All right. Not a bad pick.
Just to circle back, by the way, because you did mention the Seattle bullpen. EMAC mentioned this to me on the Saturday show last week, and they are really bad. A 1.6 WHIP, 8.9 hits per 9 allowed, 4.1% home run rate allowed. So they are pretty bad, as Jake mentioned. So even if Swanson does kind of get there somehow, which, again, he could be due for some regression back to the mean, it's still a spot where they look pretty solid. So that's fine. People talk about Swanson in the chat. Somebody's saying he's better versus lefties and righties. He is better slightly, but it's really not. It's a negligible difference. He's got a 4.8 xFIP versus lefties compared to a 6.0 xFIP versus righties. 6.9 Ks per 9 versus lefties, 6.4 Ks per 9 versus righties. The home run rate versus righties is much higher, 7% versus 4.4%. So it's still not good, to be clear, versus anybody, I think would be the distinction I'd want to make.
Yep. By the way, guys, if you want to, I see a lot of people doing this, and maybe you guys forgot tonight, but Brett, our social media guy, did tweet out our dong picks. Feel free to go over there and respond to the tweet so you have yours documented, and then you can brag when yours goes off. Or if it doesn't go off, if your guy doesn't double dong, then no one's gonna ever remember. So it's a win-win for you guys. But go give that tweet some love because Brett does a good job for our social media team.
Yep. Yeah, Brett and Ryan, both our 2 social media guys, have been working hard. So please support all the handles. Go follow them out. Go follow at Osmo Weather. Follow at Osmo MLB. Osmo MLB. Osmo_com is the main one, of course. But got a lot of Twitter out there for you to keep track of all the things you need to know for DFS. Let's bounce around here. Let's talk about the St. Louis stack across from Julio Teheran. They're another stack that's getting some ownership, maybe not a ton, but it's pretty well spread out ownership for them. 4.8 implied runs in their favor going against Teheran. Teheran, I always like more than I think people do. Like, I didn't play him much today. I think I have him in a smattering of lineups, 1 or 2, but not a lot because St. Louis is kind of terrifying. But I didn't get to a ton of St. Louis either. I have a little bit mini stack wise. I don't think I got to much in the way of full stacks. What are you doing with St. Louis?
I'm playing a good amount of St. Louis. I don't know that I'm going to end up over the field. I'm kind of around the field. You said it yourself. I mean, they're just a really scary team, and they look like they're going to be somewhat chalky. The only thing good that you can point to for Teheran here is, and that being said, I am playing some Teheran, so I don't want to make it seem like I'm not playing him at all. But the one good thing is that there's a ton of right-handed bats right in the middle of the order. So if he can kind of get into a groove and at least, create some weak contact against some of these righties, which he has been known to do, There's not too many guys you're worried about from the left side. So Carpenter, obviously a huge issue leading off, but like Wong and Dexter Fowler, not the most, not the worst guys to face from the left side for Tehran. So I am playing some of him, and you guys will see exactly how much in just a few minutes. But yeah, it's not a great spot. Like if this were a 7 or 8 game slate, I would probably just cross off Tehran here.
Yeah, I think that's about right. And Carpenter, and hitting in the leadoff spot isn't a good situation here. Tehran, another guy with noticeable lefty-righty splits, 1.55 whip compared to 0.88 versus righties. But he does give up more home runs to righties, so, it's sort of a trade-off there. But, yeah, the price not that bad for at least the top part of the stack for Carpenter and Goldschmidt, but just not one I got to a bunch. Here's one I think we will get to a bunch, and it is one that is recommended by Osmos Top Stack Percentage tool today on the site. And again, use that promo code Live Before Lock for half off your first month to get all of the tools that we have on the site, including the lineup builder and that. The Toronto Blue Jays here, Jake, going against Dylan Covey. It's 4.9 implied runs in their favor, which is down a little bit from earlier today, but still pretty close. I'm getting a good amount here. I think I kind of muted it a little bit more than I thought because I wanted to heavy up on the Twins because of the ownership there. And these Blue Jays are going to be pretty well owned, but Covey really bad. So what are you doing going against Covey? Or maybe you're going with Covey. I'm curious.
No. I got one share. So yeah, I'm all in on Dylan Covey. 1 out of 150. I think I'm fine with that. He's not really a high upside arm anyways. And so this would be a spot where if Covey was a guy that missed a lot of bats, I would probably take for 6,200 as leverage and just hope he can get 5 innings, 4 or 5 strikeouts, and kind of shut that stack down in the meantime. But he's just not a strikeout guy. Sogard leading off is not going to help cause his cause at all. So I don't really see the need to go to Covey with any frequency here. Blue Jays stack is, I think, my top stack right now. They're my top 4-man by a good amount. You see 25%. And I'm getting to them as 3-mans. I'm sure I'm getting to them as 2-mans. Yep. And then, they're middle of the pack for the 5-mans. So, yeah, I love the Blue Jays. Covey just does not miss bats. And you've got some scary hitters here for Toronto, at least at the top.
Yeah, I agree. And Vlad Guerrero, too. I think him rounding into form, he had the 2 home run day recently. I think his numbers are starting to matriculate in the right way. Ironically, after we talked about him on the show and said he's got to do something soon, I think. I think that was our hot take for Vlad, that he was just going to eventually do something at that point. That same day, he did go off, and now he's kind of rounding into form the right way. He grades out well versus a righty pitcher. I like Vlad quite a bit. The pricing is good on him. I think Smoke as well, a pretty strong play. I think it's nice, too, that you don't have to do the Smoke, Rowdy Tellez kind of Sophie's choice thing there at first base because Rowdy is not in the lineup today. Just Justin Smoke is in there. So, yeah, I like that lineup as well. And I think they're pretty well priced, help you afford some things. And the only thing kind of keep me off them was a lot of ownership. So I just muted it, and I think I ended up mostly with the field on those guys. Let's talk about Eric Lauer. We haven't talked about him yet. And he is garbage, but he is going to be my top-owned pitcher on the day besides Luis Castillo. 3.5 implied runs against him going against the Pirates lineup, who's been really bad versus lefties on the year. Maybe getting better with some more guys coming in there. And I guess maybe some risk because Eric Lauer is just not that good, not getting strikeouts, not missing bats, not limiting hard contact. Eric Lauer is terrible, Jake. But What are you doing with him?
Yeah, so sometimes you got to play these terrible guys. And I'm kind of saying that as a joke, but and Lauer maybe looks worse than he is. I honestly don't know. I don't do too many deep dives into Eric Lauer, but you just look at some of the things in his going for him here. 3.6 implied total. That is the lowest on the slate. A team that has been pretty much the worst team in the league against lefties. Short-ish sample. I think they're just under 300 at bats. But not a ton of guys you're actually that worried about. And then the thing for me that makes it tough for me to get to Pittsburgh, even though I like the idea of it, stacking against a chalk pitcher that I don't think is very good. The guys you have to play, or the guys that you would want to play, are, Polanco, but he's lefty-lefty. Frazier's lefty-lefty. Marte is 5,400, and Josh Bell is 5,600. So it's just really tough for me to get to a Pittsburgh stack, as you guys see. I don't really have much Pittsburgh at all. You're just seeing a couple shares here and there. So I'm very much on Lauer. I tried to get away from it, but I just wasn't able to. He grades out well in Alex's projections on the site, and I obviously care about those a ton when I'm making my crunches. And I guess I'm on the Eric Lauer train.
Yeah, I am too, and it's terrible. Like just looking at it, but I mean, looking at the Pittsburgh lineup right now, the only guy who's hitting well this year, and he is hitting really well. Josh Bell, 184 WRC plus on the year, 7% home run rate, 360 ISO, 333 batting average, 404 on base percentage. He's really good. Everybody else here not so good. Diaz has been good versus lefties going back to last year, so that gives me a little bit of pause. And Brian Reynolds at a limited sample size also has been pretty good versus lefties, but doesn't have dangerous power and is in a pitcher's park. So like Jake mentioned, also a lot of the better hitters here are lefties and also not very good versus a fellow lefty. So I really can't. I mean, you could find an argument against Lauer because he's just not good. He, again, doesn't miss bats, gives up a lot of hits, 10 hits per 9 this year, 4% home run rate on the year. But he's maybe due for some positive regression, I guess is the one thing you could say for him. And it's a Pittsburgh lineup that's just not that good. So, yeah. I think we're on the same page, begrudgingly.
Yeah, I mean, it's never fun going in on chalk Eric Lauer, right? But it's just like, where else do you go? Like, do you want to play?
I feel like an asshole, honestly.
What?
I just feel like an asshole looking at his numbers that I'm playing him this much.
Oh, yeah, someone's got to do it, right?
It's true. So the victory only goes to the Brave, Jake. Then that'll be us today.
Yeah. I mean, you can differentiate elsewhere, too, I think is the main thing. Like, I was able to get some quality lineups or what I think are quality lineups by having differentiation elsewhere, whether it be in my stacks. Like if you go with a Lauer stack against Stroman, even like a 2-man stack, that's going to be different than a ton of the field. So on a slate with concentrated ownership and a really murky pitching slate outside of Castillo, it's not too difficult to get a little bit weird elsewhere.
Yeah, that's how I would agree too. And the Vegas total, look, when you're going to trust anything, trust the Vegas total if you can. And you're going to be right more often than not. And 3.5 implied runs is the lowest on today's slate by a pretty decent margin. Even Luis Castillo, a much better pitcher, obviously different scenario, but he's getting 0.4 more runs against him than Eric Lauer is. So that is something. How about the guy on the bump on the other side, Jake? Trevor Williams, another guy who not overly impressive, at least better at limiting stuff. So that's something good to signify for him. Padres also strike out a lot. That's also a positive, even though Trevor Williams not a guy who's going to rack him up much. Trevor Williams, is he a guy you're getting any of?
Yeah, I got to almost 30% of him. 28% Trevor Williams. He's someone that I wasn't looking at this morning when me and Laffy started talking this morning. But as we dug into it a little bit more, it just kind of went like, we don't really like this guy, but we're playing some of this guy, Pineda, Swanson, Covey, Stroman's chalk, but he's just kind of one of those guys. He's a better real life pitcher than fantasy pitcher, but that doesn't mean he doesn't have at least some strikeout upside against the Padres, who just swing and miss about as much as anyone versus right-handed pitching this season. Also great park, similar to Lauer, 60 degrees here, a little bit of wind blowing in from left field. So yeah, it's not a perfect price on Williams, but that's why you're getting him at lower ownership than a guy like Stroman.
Yeah, I think it's right. Yeah, I don't mind Williams today. I mean, for the same reasons, like looking at Eric Lauer's numbers, I get pause. Looking at Trevor Williams' numbers, I'm like, you know what? I can see getting there. I mean, it's not a great price to pay, the 8,300 on DK, but I have a good amount of him. I'm also with the field. I think you're also with the field at just under 30% ownership projected on DraftKings. That all seems fine. He's getting guys to chase. like there are things with Trevor Williams I could say like, all right, like that looks good. Like he's not a bad whip, not giving up a ton of home runs, getting guys to chase. Lauer, there was nothing to point to, man. There's nothing at all.
Yeah, I swear, I mean, it's just Vegas, right? That's what you're banking on here. Like in the long run, I think Lauer's fine here. Now, maybe not 40% fine. Maybe he's not fine 40% of the time for DFS here, but just with the other options are just pretty gross elsewhere. So that's where I ended up, and that's where you ended up too, it sounds like. Yeah,
we're there. Here's another guy in that same tier we should probably hit on. Kick's good. Mentioning Stroman is good tonight. Talking about BVP, which is not something I would say we're not looking at necessarily, but it's a good spot overall. Stroman's been getting better at limiting damage. XFIP of 3.8 on the year, home run rate of 1.4% on the year, and that's improved slightly on where he was last year, but not unsustainably so. And this White Sox lineup, so Stroman, I think I would have more interest in if he didn't get 4.6 implied runs against him in a favorable hitting park. I think those are kind of the reasons I get paused for Stroman. So I ended up with less of him than Trevor Williams, but he still looks fine to me. Like I think he has some upside here in the spot. I don't mind him. I certainly have a little bit less in the field of him, but I'm close enough to it. What about you and Stroman?
I am below the field. What did you say his final ownership was? on
As
DraftKings?
assuming my most recent update is correct, 31% on
Okay.
DK.
Yeah, no, I was just asking. So I'm gonna be under on that. I figured I would be pretty comfortably under on Stroman. He's not a huge upside arm. Obviously, against the White Sox, there's always some built-in upside, but I think that's mitigated by just 30+% ownership here. And you could say the same thing about Trevor Williams. So maybe not like I don't know. I got to more Trevor Williams. I wouldn't have a problem if someone went over on Stroman and under on Williams. I think that's also a viable strategy. I just had a easier time fitting in White Sox bats that I liked that graded out well rather than Padres bats against Williams. So just for leverage reasons, those guys being the exact same ownership right now, I had more White Sox bats, and that's why you're seeing less of Stroman than Williams.
Yeah, and you've got some pop in that Chicago lineup too with Moncada, Abreu, Alonso, Castillo, all those guys above league average in terms of home runs. All those guys actually above 3.8%, so significantly above league average, which is around 2.9%. So yeah, I think that's all good to me. I didn't get there personally because I think Stroman's done a good enough job not limiting stuff. But if you are going to leverage against a guy, I mean, it would be Eric Lauer if the Pirates had any sort of competency. But I think if you're going to go against a guy with a team who actually has some sort of upside, I think the White Sox would probably be the one you want to leverage against, or leverage with, rather.
Yeah, just some power. I mean, you can't really like the Padres do have some as well with Machado, but we don't even have their lineup yet. It could be a weird one, and Williams is just a solid real life pitcher as well.
Chris Hernandez saying, and this might be a question I think you're more equipped to answer. I don't think it's a stack slate, just minis. I would say, if anything, this is more of a stack slate because you kind of need to capture the one or two things that do explode out of the small grouping we have. But what would you say about that, Jake?
Every slate is a stack slate. I mean,
yeah,
literally if you're not stacking in MLB DFS, now there's different variations of stacks. So maybe tonight it's a 5-gamer. Obviously much different than tomorrow if we have a 14 or 15-gamer. Tonight you could do like a 3-3-2 or 3-3 with 2 one-offs or 4-2-2 or something like that. I think you're okay. You're more okay with the stacks being smaller, but you still should be stacking. I mean, if you can just cherry pick every hitter that's going to hit a home run tonight, I mean, by all means, knock yourself out. But there's a reason you're seeing all these top pros stacking on 4 and 5 game slates. Like if you look at Alex's lineups, and you'll see tomorrow if they go over them with lineup study on the strategy show, you'll see that he's going to have a lot of stacks tonight. Yeah, he might have some 4-man stacks that are 4-man and then naked elsewhere. He might have some 5-man and then naked elsewhere, whereas tomorrow it's completely different on a huge slate. But just in general, you should be stacking on every slate in some fashion. It's just as you get to be less games, you should have you're allowed to have smaller stack sizes.
Yeah, and I would say too, I mean, you do have a couple of decent run totals here where like I just find it hard to believe there isn't going to be a 5-man or a 4-man that's clearly heads and shoulders above the rest. So like I would be less inclined to go to super mini stacks because we have a decent run total here. If you have like a slate where it's just garbage across the board, I think that's fine. We can joke about the pitching, which is garbage to be clear, but the hitting here, there are some nice totals here, some nice weather as well, some nice park factors for a lot of games. So yeah, I wouldn't be inclined to mini stack personally.
Yep. I mean, you could go 5-2. You can go 4-3 if you consider a 3-man a mini, but
yeah,
you're still stacking.
Yeah, I agree. But not like a 2-2-2. Like I wouldn't do that. That's a little too cute for me. And you're just decreasing your odds of correlation by a pretty substantial margin.
Yep.
All right. What else do we? Oh, we didn't hit on the Seattle side of the equation, other than Emack's home run pick, which of course Emack is in the lead along with Josh. So we should treat that as sacrosanct more than anything. But going against Michael Pineda, some love for Pineda I saw in the chat earlier. He does get swinging strikes. He does get guys to chase. He also gets bombed pretty much across the board so far this year. 174 batters faced and 11 hits per 9 allowed, 5.7% home run rate, but an 11.7% swinging strike rate and a 33.5% chase rate. Those are good numbers. So I don't hate him, but the hard contact's dangerous. The Seattle lineup, I know some people in the chat were talking about, they don't get there a lot. They do have a lot of power, whether they get there a lot anecdotally or not. They have a lot of guys who can contribute danger to a guy who gives up a ton of hard contact, which Pineda does. What are you doing with this equation here? More Seattle or more Pineda?
More Seattle, I believe. It's pretty close, actually. Let me check. 16% Pineda, just doing a quick scan. of my stacking here. I got a few 5-mans for Seattle. I got a bunch of 4-mans. Same thing with the 3 and the 2. So it's about even. I'm not taking a giant stand elsewhere, but like if I had one lineup, I don't think Pineda would end up on it. I'll put it like that. Whereas I think Seattle bats could.
Yeah, I have more Seattle than Pineda, and I liked. We talked about before he came on the air. I had to take out my Jay Bruce before we started the show because I was looking forward to having him in the lineup. I thought it was a really good spot here versus Pineda, but he will not be in there. But you have a lot of guys here: Haniger, Encarnacion, Vogelbach. I mean, you got to choose one of those guys, which kind of stinks, but some exposure to both works. Domingo Santana also, been better this year. Maybe not the best power guy going back to last year, but still improving, getting there. Narvaez showing a ton of power this year and getting really. He's been a better hitter. I mean, he was good last year, I think, on the White Sox, but he's been much better in Seattle. So I like a lot of these guys. I think there's a lot of ways to go for a 5-man. Ryan Healy, too. He does have pop. It depends which Pineda you're getting. If you're getting the guy who misses bats, then it could be a good day for him. But if you're getting the guy who, on paper, is just giving up a ton of hard contact and home runs, not a perfect hitting park, and not great weather, though I guess the dome should cover, not the dome, but whatever their awning thing should cover most of that out. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really see a lot of love for Pineda here.
Yeah, I don't really either. So we got this Padres lineup. Are we missing anyone in it that we thought was going to be in it? Hedges, France, Renfroe, Reyes. Are those guys all in? Ty France is out.
Oh, Renfroe.
Renfroe is Ren.
Yeah,
okay.
He was in there. Now he's not.
Okay, so we had the correct catcher. No Renfroe, no Ty France.
Oh, that screws up one of my lineups.
Is that his name? Ty France? I just saw his name.
Yeah, Alex Dickerson is in instead of Ty France, I guess. And yeah. And
okay,
then
so we had Renfroe as well. All right.
Yeah, who's the other one? Wait, I'm confused.
Okay, so swapping to here, well, I'll just put this on screen for you guys so you can watch me swap. I'm just gonna global swap at this point. Whatever. Renfroe is 4,600. So is Dickerson in the player pool? All right, Dickerson's in the player pool. I only had 2 Renfroes, so.
I have one Ty France and I have one Renfroe. I know that offhand, so I'm gonna have to get those boys out. Wait, what's the deal with Alex Dickerson? I feel like I've never seen him on a slate.
I haven't heard his name in a couple years, man. I swear. Has he been down in the minors for a couple years? Because I remember playing him like maybe 2016, 2017. And
all right, I've got Alex Dickerson numbers here. We'll give him real fast. 9 at bats versus a righty going back to last year. So he's been somewhere. Wherever he's been, he has not been hitting in the major leagues. 222 batting average, 222 on base percentage, ISO of 0.00. On the year, he is hitting 167, on base 167 as well, which I'm sure a very small sample size, and a negative 14 WRC plus this season. So he hasn't done much yet, but this could be the day he turns it around.
All right, well, here we go. Alex Dickerson. I only got 2 lineups out of 150 of Dickerson.
Man, that sucks. I don't get how you take Renfroe out for this matchup. Like Renfroe, to me, was one of the few guys there who actually had some ability to do stuff. France, I could care less about. He's terrible, but not terrible, but not good. Renfroe though, has pop, serious pop. I'd be surprised by that.
For sure. Okay, so I'm taking France out. Man, 1,200 left over here. So I'm just gonna make this a 4-2-2, I think. Oh wait, can I fit in a San Diego bat here? No.
Ooh, okay. So you can go to Austin Riley for the same price as Ty France. So I'm doing that in one lineup.
Yeah,
that's a nice little swap. That's actually a big improvement of a swap. Ty France is garbage. Austin Riley is kind of filthy from what I've seen so far.
Yeah, that's a good point. So that's what I just did in both of mine. All right, so we're good. Yeah, I'm pretty much done with lineups. I didn't play on FanDuel today. I do have some tickets tomorrow, so I will be playing tomorrow when Josh and I are on the live before lock show. But yeah.
Kyle's saying that Alex Dickerson has been in the California Penal League. I don't think he has been, unless you talk about Miguel Sano, which either of those would be possible. All right. There was a question here. Oh, our boy McCott asked for the Paul Blackburn of the night, the historical award for the worst pitcher who is going to be potentially on a tournament-winning lineup. I mean, we talked about him enough. It's got to be Eric Lauer.
Yeah, I think for us it's Eric Lauer. Who would you do? Who would you take after that? I mean, Pineda has talent. I could see him getting some strikeouts here. So I guess he would be my second guy if you don't want to count just the chalk 30+% own guy.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
Pineda or Swanson would be my other choices there because like I like those stacks a lot, but they could certainly fail. So and Swanson, maybe just isn't as bad of a pitcher. I know Ship My Money, Adam mentioned on the deeper dive that he thinks that Swanson's not a terrible pitcher, which, not the greatest cosign either. But I think, he could be due to get slightly better. So that would be the one thing. And he is in the pitcher friendly park. So maybe a Swanson too. But yeah, Lauer to me, just based on grading out. He's cheaper and he's worse, but he has the Vegas total. So there's actually some valid reasons to go to him.
yeah. All right. So there's some discussion going on in premium Slack about this weather in Cincinnati. Other people are saying that maybe there's an issue there, an early inning delay. I mean, for me, we don't have a postponement risk right now. So I'm just treating it as it's going to go fine. 0% in Osmo's projections on the site. So that's all I need to know. If he's willing to put tens of thousands of dollars on that, and who knows honestly how much, I'm good with worrying about that Chicago game. I'll swap. Wait, I guess you can't swap because they're the early game. It locks in 2 minutes, right? But I'm playing.
How many ways can the slate be terrible? That's the question.
Just play it. Yeah.
One thing that Ken in our premium Slack, by the way, and again, you get that premium Slack with any membership to Osmo.com. Use the promo code live before lock for half off your first month on any package. Our guy Ken is in Cincinnati. He's posting in the premium Slack some photos. Apparently the weather is clearing up. The storms are clearing out. So it does seem like it'll be okay there in case anybody's worried about that one. This, I guess one of the Twitter weathermen is saying a weather delay is possible, but our guy Ken, who's on the field there, he's down on the streets, not on the field itself. But he seems like things are okay, so we'll keep our fingers crossed there.
Yep.
Senzel GOAT. I don't know that he's the GOAT, but he is pretty good in this spot. I think versus lefties, he's been a much better hitter in 16 at bats. So I actually do like Senzel a decent amount, but definitely not the GOAT.
Let's see where I ended up on Senzel. Where is this? Where is this guy? Am I missing him? Oh yeah. Okay.
No.
17%. So while I didn't get to a ton of red stacks, I did end up with a bunch of their guys in mini stacks in 4 and 3 and 2-man stacks.
Yeah. I have some Senzel in my stacks. I know I have some Casali, and I actually ended up with a stupid amount of Votto, which I don't like, but the price on him is just so cheap that it's a terrible matchup for him. So I really don't like that. I think the hope is maybe you get something going versus the bullpen, but Cubs bullpen also pretty decent. So I'm not thrilled with the amount of Votto I have in my lineups, probably.
Yeah.
Vlad Carpenter. Oh, well, we're locked, but Vlad Carpenter can't decide. Which would you go with, Vlad Guerrero or Matt Carpenter?
I believe. Let me see here. I have more Vlad, so I'd go Vlad.
I too would go Vlad. I think he's getting into form. I think he had those early stage jitters, and it's getting warmer too. Like I do think a player who's played in a lot of warm weather throughout his career and growing up, he is a guy who's going to benefit from the warmer weather when it kind of comes into form. So
he's also built like an absolute brick, so it's just really fun watching him.
He is a thick boy with multiple C's.
He is very thick. It's a thick man.
All right, we're locked now, right? 640.
Yes, we are locked.
Okay. So we are locked. So we did our job. We filled the show. We bounced around. We covered all the stuff. Good job by us.
Yeah, that was a good job by us. Did it efficiently too, I think. So more patting ourselves on the back at the end of shows.
Yeah, we don't often do that enough, but a little pat on the back for us for getting through the show, and the deeper dive guys too. They also had a full show going for this. So we're making content, guys. Even if there are 5 games and some of them are awful looking, we are going to get there and we're going to debate it. So please support the channel, like the video right now, subscribe, hit the notification bell, whenever you have content going up. There is always content going up. We have the strategy show that Jake is on fairly frequently. Obviously, Josh, Lofty, Adam all cycling in there as well. My Four Corners video in the morning, a short form thing. If you just want to watch that on the toilet, whatever, while you're at work, please go ahead. I'll spend all the time you want to spend together on the toilet. So go do that as well. Obviously, the deeper dive every day, this show every day. Fast Eddie is going to be on today as well, doing a little showdown preview again for our West Coast Finals matchup. There's a lot of stuff going on there. So subscribe now. We're here for you guys. We appreciate you guys and your support. Jake, anything else you want to hit on before we call it quits?
Oh, just thanks for watching again, guys. Go check out the Osmo.com Twitter accounts, Osmo_com, Osmo MLB, all those Twitter accounts. and become a member. Use that top stack tool that we keep referring to. It is absolute gold. So that's all I got.
Yep. Yeah. Use that promo code live before locks, get all that stuff. And as Jake mentioned, go check out that Twitter giveaway we're doing for Game of Thrones. Again, you don't really have to know Game of Thrones, just make your pick. It's going to be selected at random, so go do that. If you get it right, you will get a free month of an all-access pass at awesemo.com. And we're doing that a lot, so follow the handle, keep your eyes peeled. Again, our social media guys, Brett and Ryan, have been working really hard to get stuff out there, to get more giveaways, to get you guys some more access out there, because we want to have the community grow however it may. So go check that out. And we'll be back tomorrow. It's me and Josh tomorrow, right? Not you?
Is it?
I think so. I think it's days I don't do Saturday, I do Friday, and I think you don't do Friday when you do Saturday.
Cool.
I think.
Sounds good then.
I think so. I hope so. If not, it'll be somebody on here tomorrow. So we'll see you guys then, and good luck.